Evening. We're going to get started. My name is Mark Thornton. I'm the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation for Hillsborough County. We want to welcome everyone tonight. This is a great crowd. I hope you're okay sitting on the bleachers. We do have some more chairs if you want to sit in a chair, but I noticed some folks getting from the chairs up to the bleachers. So anyway, this is a public siting meeting that we do periodically when we're looking at developing new facilities within the county. The Board of County Commissioners want us to go out, and if we have a proposed project, we'll present it to a community where we plan to build a facility and get public feedback on it to make sure that it's something that the public wants and will take care of as much as we want and will take care of it. So we've had a few of these looking for the right spot. We're here to talk about a skate park in the northwest portion of Hillsborough County. We just opened recently one in Brandon, and on Saturday, July 28th, if the weather holds where it's been, we'll open up our second one in Apollo Beach. So we have 3 that are funded, this being the 3rd one. Rather than continue to take our time on looking at this location in Northwest or looking at locations in the Northwest, we concentrated on the construction of the 2. To get those completed, get them open, and now we're ready to move forward and get our 3rd one in. If you look at the way that the county geographically is laid out, we have one planned for Northwest. The city of Tampa has one in New Tampa, and then we have one in Brandon and another one in Apollo Beach. And they're all about equal distance apart, so they'll be fairly accessible to everyone within the county. We, right now, we're not charging a fee at our 2 facilities, the Brandon that's open and the soon-to-open Apollo Beach. We propose that we would have an entrance fee so that we can generate revenue to continually keep the facility up as new. But right now, it's at no charge until the county commissioners approve our fee policies that we have going through the budget process. If that ends up happening, we have gotten an agreement with the city to reciprocate our season pass. We would accept theirs, they would accept ours. So you buy one pass, you get to go to four facilities once we complete all of our 3. Likewise, the city would get to go to theirs and to all of ours. So it benefits all the kids, no matter if you live in the city or if you live within the county. So it's a positive thing. What I'm going to do is just kind of show you a couple of photos and then finally the map and talk about the proposed project at Jackson Springs. When we did this, our first round about Brandon and Apollo Beach public siting meetings, we had to use examples from other cities. Now I'm going to show you a couple of pictures, not very many, and forgive me for my low-tech ability here, but I think I have the slides. I want to first show you, we started out pretty much like the drawing that you see here of Jackson Springs. This is Providence East Park, where we overlaid it and had our public siting meetings. And we did also in Apollo Beach. Whoops. Got a little rec center here, and we tucked the skate parks actually, find the light, whoops, right in this area where that tennis court is. It was situated or oriented wrong, and it never was used because sunlight was always an issue. So we removed that tennis court and put the skate park there, and that allowed us to handle a lot of the drainage issues that were ongoing. I want to show you some photographs of, this is an aerial photograph of the skate park at Apollo Beach. One thing I wanted to point out on this is that we used, they like us to do, they being the county, we have a public art fund and want us to try to incorporate public art in what we do in parks and recreation, design, and construction. So we used a little bit of an opportunity to do some artistic design. This is the sunburst, and that's all stained and etched into the concrete. But I wanted to point out the design of both skate parks, this one at Apollo Beach and the one at Brandon, were all done with our design build team, Team Payne, and the kids through the process. When we started the process, we just had the space. We didn't know what was going to go in there. We got the kids involved in the design, and the skate company who does this all over the country got their input, did some draft designs, came back, the kids liked it, didn't like it, made some modifications. And what you're going to see is they're two very distinct skate parks. Who knows what would happen with the skate park that we plan in the Northwest here at Jackson Springs, because we haven't had the kids' input yet. So that's really been the important part of that, is that the kids get a buy-in to the skate park, they take care of it, and we've gotten that. It's been proven to us that does happen. This one is a plaza design. You can see it looks pretty flat, which it is. There's a stairway. I don't know where that light is. Right in this area, there's a stairway. This is all generally flat with a bunch of elements like rails and stairs and things that the skaters like to skate on. I'm going to go through a series and you can see a little bit more. Whoops. This is the Apollo Beach when they were under construction, etching actually the concrete. You can see the slope, but generally it's a flat area. There's a turnaround there that's got the smaller sunburst. There it is up close. Some more flat, and it's just a plaza. It's like a regular downtown plaza design, which if you are in the room and you are a skater, you know that that's the origin of General Skate Park. So this one, it will achieve a whole different situation than what we do at Apollo Beach. At Brandon. Now this is a Brandon, and it's more of a bowl type design where we built up a pile of dirt and dug out a hole and put in a bowl and a whole bunch of bumps and bruising things that I can't describe. This is looking back. You can see it's a much different design. And the bowl here, it's actually about 14 feet deep. I told the contractor when they were building it, if the skate park fails, we'll just fill it up and have our first swimming pool in the county. But so far, it's been very popular. We had about 300 or 400 people there on Saturday for a special event. And there's some opening day, some kids there. What I'm going to do now, I need to go back to, I'm just going to pull this up and then talk a little bit about the proposed. Here we go. Yeah, and that's the same as this map here. Let me stand over here since I'm done with the computer. We're in this building here, the rec center back over here. Right now, you can see the basketball courts. This is parking area. The entrance came in here, parking here, basketball there. What we're recommending on the design of this is and one of the things that we have to deal with is our stormwater runoff and drainage issues. So anytime we put in impervious surface, we've got to handle that issue. So what we've looked at doing is, since we have now, these basketball courts were built before the gym, and we're proposing to move the parking to this, where the basketball courts are, where the parking is now, put the skate park there so it's associated closely with this building, because it's a very controlled facility, and I'll talk a little bit about that, and then relocate one basketball court out here. This allows us to have stormwater retention here, and then this is all going to be bermed up with landscaping to shield noise and sight from this row of houses here, which are the closest houses. This is similar to what we have at Apollo Beach. And we did some berming and tucked it in, but it is right across the street from residential as well. And of course, Apollo Beach is much like Jackson Springs, where it's had a lot of activity for years of multiple ages. The process and operations of skate park is it's controlled entrance and access. The facility will be fenced. You would come into this building. We're going to take part of the weight facility and make that into the skate office. You come in and you go out a door into the skate park, and you have to exit the same way. and that allows us to control who's in it, because there's a lot of regulation that has to go into public skate parks. If you're familiar with the skate park at Tampa, that's privately owned. They can do whatever they want to do, but we're generally regulated by state law and how we have to monitor and keep our liability and safety issues in check. We do require helmets. That's state law on public skate parks. If you're under 18, your parents have to sign a release before you're able to skate. And so that control point is something that's extremely important to make sure that everyone out there has signed a release, is wearing a helmet. If you don't have a helmet, we're either going to give you one right now or rent you one later, but everyone does. And when you go to our skate park at Brandon, and is soon to open Apollo Beach, you'll see that we have 100% compliance. It's just something that has to occur. So right now that we're not charging a fee, but we still are controlling the entrance and access. We got a lot of comments about whether or not we, just don't fence it, like just free for all, but because of the regulations and requirements that we have to follow, unlike a private facility, then we're going to control the access. That also allows us to control everything that goes on about a skate park. We've had a lot of public meetings. I think this is our first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth meeting that we've had for the third, not for this one, but for total of all of our skate parks. We got a lot of comments about concerns about what goes on around the skate park. This facility has quickly become a really important destination for Town and Country and for our department as a model teen center. We've got a huge active, how many do we have, Shorty? Over 100 active participants right now in our summer teen program, and don't see any way that that's going to even slow down. We want it to become the center of the universe in this part of the county for teen programs. We're using the programs we do here through the leadership of Tina Marnotes to look at other areas of the county to develop the same kind of facility. We benefited from having this facility. The Boys and Girls Club no longer wanted to operate out of here, so it was a perfect fit for us. The teen program is a natural fit for us having a facility like a skate park. We have, of course, at our skate parks, we've had anybody from 3 years old to, I don't think anybody maybe over 50, I don't know. There's been some maybe, which has been a hoot, but mostly it's the teen years age that we're looking at and that are our predominant users. We do offer 12 and under skating on Saturday mornings so the little guys aren't intimidated, although we've got a 4-year-old that's a regular at Brandon that beats everyone, and he's amazing. But if my kids skated, they were a little intimidated when they first started, when they were younger, and that limit of who can be in the park at a certain time works out well. But we had, I guess, probably skaters from 3 to 50 last Saturday. So with that, I'm going to stop my presentation. Let me tell you the process that we'll go through now. It's somewhat informal, however, it all is, you can see this fancy equipment being recorded. So anything that we want to get feedback from you tonight is public record, but you have to come to the microphone and give us your name, address, and then whatever you want to say. We're recording it all. We're going to take down, and in fact, this isn't the last. You don't have to be here to make a comment. If you have a neighbor or friends that didn't get to come tonight, they can go online and email us in comments. How long do we take the comments? 2 weeks? 2 weeks after tonight's meeting. So we'll compile all of that and then review them and then determine, what we want to do and then probably come back at some point in time in a less formal setting and start talking to you about how we want to build it, if this is the location, and then we start with the kids. So with that, I'm going to just ask, just get in line and stand up, speak. And be sure and give your name and address. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for coming. My name is Stan Crick. I live at 7710 West Elm. I'm a resident of Town and Country, a taxpayer and voter for the last 45 plus years. I do not want to see this out here, and I'm probably in the minority, but I'm concerned about graffiti. We have graffiti in the neighborhood, and we see it all the time, and this will be just a nice concrete pad for graffiti. That's going to mean my taxes are going to have to pay to clean it up. In addition, that signed release is not worth the paper it's written on. You will be sued when somebody gets hurt. That means my taxes are going up again. I just can't see the county going in, and again, I'm an old grouch, so this is something that, but I'm very concerned because I'm tired of paying my taxes. I saw it flood out here very bad in the last storm. I've seen it flood 5 different times out here. This location will flood out too. So again, I'm against it, and I'm probably in the minority, but thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carlton Lewis. I reside at 9510 Netherstone Court in the Timberlane community. I am for a skate park, but not particularly for it here at this particular site. I think the site is restrictive, too restrictive. We've had programs over here before. You said the Boys and Girls Club are no longer here, but you didn't tell us why they left. But it's hard to get here. It's a safety issue as well, getting over here. I'm not concerned about boarders walking around with cans of spray paint in their pockets. It doesn't happen. I don't see boarders stealing someone's TV and getting away on their skateboard. I don't see boarders walking around with pistols and stuff like that. Boarders are not usually gang members. Boarders are just kids out to have fun. They're gonna skate, no matter where they're gonna, whether it's over in the shopping center. We need a place for these kids to skate. And I suggest that we put it at Peroni Park. And when I was a kid, before all this fancy skateboard and everything came out, I skated on the street. There was a similar type of street. I had a 2x4, a steel skate. I took and broke it in half, and we were boarders way back when. So I don't know what Stan Crick had to say. I'm not trying to be bad against the crab man over here, but skateboarding goes back a long time. Also, as far as Olympics, they got boarding in there, boogie boards, all that. These kids start somewhere. I would love to see one of these youth that's out here in our community be an Olympic star because they got started in our community on the back of a skateboard. And the reason why I say I don't like it here in this particular site is, like I say, we've bused kids over here from Timberlane Park. We tried year in and year out. I've been living here for 20-some years, and this site has never been a productive site for the kids living out here. There's no sidewalks or anything. There's no access over here. How do we get these kids here? Look at it, it's in the woods somewhere. The kids are not gonna be driving by. We want a safety area where people are cognizant of what the youth in the area. Peroni Park is right up the school from elementary school, bus stops right down the street, shopping center right across the street, not too far from the commons. And do not put it at the commons. It's not part of our community plan. I'm not against boarding, but I don't want it at the commons because when we had a community plan, it just wasn't a part of the community plan. We had a lot of opportunity to put it. I say continue to look for it, but these kids need somewhere to skate.
Thank you.
Keep going? Do we keep going?
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm
My name's
just gonna get a
Roxanne
chair.
Dresta. I actually live at 8202 Vassar Circle, which is in 12 Oaks.
Here we go.
Also the manager for the last 12 years of Town and Country Pony Baseball Park and have been involved in several youth programs throughout Hillsborough County, Good Guys, Children's Home, a lot of the shelters, many other things, juvenile justice programs. So when it comes to the youth, I feel very knowledgeable in this community as to what we can and cannot do for them. First, to address the graffiti, which I completely and totally respect. As the manager of Town and Country Pony Baseball Park, which is also a county facility, we see a lot of the graffiti. And my point is that I've seen these youth, and I say this respectfully, grow up at the park playing baseball their whole life, which they're active in a sport, which is an extracurricular activity. My kids have gone to Parks and Recs their whole life. Now they're older, and 20 and 17. And what happens is when these youth no longer have an activity that they can get involved in, that they're proud of, that they enjoy, like being an all-star in baseball or being involved. Like my children refuse to play ball anymore, and what else can they do? So they choose to do skateboarding. If they're involved in something positive like skateboarding, they would not, and I can guarantee you that all of the boys here who skateboard would commit to the fact that they would not be graffitiing or destroying any kind of property as long as they had somewhere to skate. I think it's very important that we give them that opportunity. I can guarantee that there's several business owners because of having a facility somewhere close by who would fully sponsor or support, and I can get businesses here locally involved that I know the owners or the managers for. I know Wing House would do whatever it took to assist. I know CCS, I've already talked to the manager there, and Citrus Park, they would be more than willing to jump in and give their word and try to be supportive of it. I know my kids really want somewhere to skate, and I think it's important for our community to have it locally. Does it have to physically be here? You know what? Town and country. Somewhere in town and country, because there is nowhere for them to go. Oldsmar, maybe? It's not even our county. Brandon, we can't get there. My boy drives. Do I want him driving all the way to, Brandon or the skate park here? No, I would like for him to stay local. Regardless of where you put it, as long as it's in town and country, for these kids to have somewhere to go, I think is important. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rich Silkworth. I live at 6029 Mornay Drive. I've been a resident of Town and Country since 1974. I raised my kids. Our grandkids grew up in Town and Country. Anytime there's anything for the kids, I'm all for it. My only concern is that basketball court going to be big enough? It seems like every time I drive by here, the courts that they have now are full. So that may be one thing to look at. Also, I'm the vice president of the Town and Country Civic Association. I'm speaking for myself and not for them, but I'm all for this, and I don't have any kids anymore. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Janet Vanderlick. I live at 7011 Cobblewood Court and have since 1980. I've been a teacher for 36 years, and I'm extremely in favor of the skate park. The exact where, because of the drainage, I don't know enough about. But the young people that are here are going to be our voters very, very soon. Those of us that are seniors have lots of senior programs and places, and if we want our future voters to continue to fund those, we need to provide what young people need right now.
My name is Mitch Turner. I live at 9205 Tudor Drive, number 210, here in Town and Country. I, too, am in support of a skate park. I do echo the concerns about the location being at a place where non-drivers can get to, close to a bus stop or bus line, also close to other things that draw people besides. And I know that this center does draw teenagers, but I'm thinking about the younger children as well that might not have a parent that's ready to drive them to this park. One of the areas that I thought about was near the library, because I like to see something that maybe they can get a book while they're also skating, because as a former teacher, I know how important reading is and how important that proximity of oh, while I'm here, I can drop into the library. Oh, while I'm at the library, maybe I'll get a book and maybe I'll read. And so that was the area that I thought about. And of course, the last time I went by there, I realized that the retention pond or drainage area that was put in there really did take up a lot of the ground. But perhaps some of that can be incorporated into a skate park, because you do need slopes and you do need area that has some ups and downs to it. So I am supportive of the skate park, but I would like to see it. As I drove up here, I noticed no sidewalk or very limited sidewalks, and so it does present a hazard to some people to get here on foot or on board. Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Brian Winnell, 5123 Countryside Drive, Citrus Park area. One thing I like to see is watching my son skateboard. You know, watching the expression on his face when he does a trick is great. My son is a skateboarder. He is a straight A student, A's and B's. You know, this would be a great place for him to come to because Tampa Skate Park is too far to go sometimes. A controlled environment. You know who's here and who's not here. You know when he's here, when he leaves, you know, and it's a good place. Because everywhere you go nowadays, you see the kids skateboarding in parking lots. Get out of here, you can't skate here. Signs all over the place. People fight, so they can't skateboard there. But whenever you try to build a place for them to skate, you know, you got to pull teeth for it. I'm all for it because it gives them a place to go. You know where they are. You know why they're there. I was born and raised here in Town and Country, 42 years. Met my wife here in Tampa, you know, but it's a great place. I'm all for the skateboard park.
Hello, my name is Derek Bowie. I live at 6212 Frost Drive. Although I did grow up most of my life here in Town and Country, I went to Woodbridge Elementary right down the street. Grew up skateboarding, been skateboarding since I was 10 years old. There are no spots, there aren't any locations around here that are safe for any of us to go to without either being harassed, kicked out by the cops, or even banned from some places just because we're trying to do something athletic. I'd also like to point out that there are many tennis courts and basketball courts that are completely vacant and unused. And I can guarantee you just by not just a few of my friends here, but also all the other skaters, and I'm sure there's plenty more that aren't here to support right now, but there would be an influx, a great amount of teens, not only teens, but young adults that come to this place. And of course it would be a positive outcome because it's exercise. It really would deter crime and keep the teens off the streets and away from graffiti and drugs and all the other bad things that are out there. So it's always a positive outcome when it's exercise. That's all I like to say. Thank you.
Hi, Bruce Bertan, 11328 Palm Pasture Drive in Country Way. I want to thank the county for your persistence. I've been to several meetings where every site has been proposed and fallen through. So this is another one that I hope will finally get to be built here in Town and Country. My kids have been boarders for years. Again, they're also straight A students, honors students. They love the activity. I hate the idea of them showing up at, you know, right around the corner at Bell's and skating in the parking lot over there, and that's what they do. That's where the kids go, and we want them in a safe place, and I like the whole idea of having it here in Town and Country. So I hope you stick to it. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Clark Alexander, and I've been a resident of Town and Country for 31 years. My address is 8312 Civic Road, which is very close to this location, I may say. I think the safety concerns of this area here are of primary importance to young people. There are no sidewalks for them to skate to get here rather than being on the roads. It's not a very well-lit area. And the flooding here in Town and Country just 3 weeks ago was again unprecedented. I have to tell you, I think other areas would be better. I am in total support of this facility for young people. My son is 20, he's been a skateboarder, and also going to the areas around here, you can't skate very long without getting asked to leave. And so let's improve this area for our youth and be in support of the skateboard park. Thank you.
Michael E. Schmidt, 6304 Teresa Street. That's about a block and a half from here. I want to say I was 100% for the skateboard park. I want to ask, how tall will the berms be that are going to be built next to the road here? Do you happen to know?
Well, we'll design those. We'll design those so that we screen out and not intrude into the neighborhood.
And will you consider a second basketball court?
Sure.
Okay, good. And I wish I had a place like this when I was a kid.
My name is Austin Wynell, 5123 Countryside Drive. I am all for a skate park here. I am a skater myself. I mean, it would be a safe environment. The parents know where you are. It's not like where you're just going to go skate somewhere else where they don't know you where you are. You could get kicked out. I'm tired of hearing you can't skate here, you can't skate there. I would be glad for a skate park to be here.
My name is Dominic Haynes. I'm also a fellow skateboarder. I live at 9412 West Cluster Street. I get why, like, the parents and the guardians of the fellow skaters are like, well, they're probably gonna do graffiti and all that stuff. As a skater, I already know, like, nobody's gonna be focused on graffiti if everybody's, because everybody loves skating. Like, everybody that skates loves skating, and they're focused on that. They're not gonna really be worried about graffiti and, like, messing up the park, because that's just them. And I'm all for a skate park here, because the skate park of Tampa, I mean, you gotta, like, from Town and Country, you gotta go, like, take the highway all the way down there. I mean, it's kind of a pain, but, like, if you were to live in Town and Country, you would easy access. So I'm all for a skate park here.
My name is Sean Burnett. I live at 8025 Jackson Springs Road, which is right down this very road. I've lived here my whole life, and I've grown up around skating. I'm not a big skater myself, but I have lots of friends that do it, and you know, I've tried it out every now and then. It's a lot of fun, and I'm all for like a skate park here. The only problem is I share concerns of what other people have said about the basketball courts, because I do come here on weekends occasionally, and we'll be playing in a game, and there's 20-some kids all trying to get a few minutes in, just get a shot in, and it's like, it's really packed. And I don't feel that just one court would be enough to accommodate all those number of people, but I'm highly for this idea, and I think it's a great idea for the community. And thank you very much.
How you doing? My name is Romeo Loinez. I live at 6400 Heathermore Court, and that's in 12 Oaks. I worked for the county for 3 years, and I got laid off by this great county. And I believe this is an awesome thing, the first awesome thing you guys do. So I'm all for it. Appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Edith Murway. I'm at 9136 Grosse Pointe Boulevard, a little ways away from here. Don't have any little kids or anything like that. But I think something that we're kind of overlooking, you build a facility, you're not going to have everything the way it has to be right away. Usually there's not enough funding for that. Sidewalks, eventually we will have sidewalks, I'm sure. There's progress to be made. Down the roadways, you will have the things that we're saying are not available now will be available. There will be bus service. There was a time when we didn't have any buses at all. Now we have bus service. There's all kinds of things that happen with the progress of the growing community. This is a growing community. This particular teen center happens to be a miracle center, actually, in my eyes, because the teens, the actual teens, have been crushed together with the middle school kids in their activities. Now we have the actual teens able to have their activities and their services just for themselves. Nothing, no offense to the middle school kids, they're wonderful. But there's a gap in their growth between the middle school kids and the teens. And you need to recognize that they need their own place. And Tina Marnotis did recognize that and created this wonderful teen center. And I would like just one round of applause for Tina Marnotis. You have to understand that with a zero budget and a very minimum staff, she has put together this servicing 100 or more kids who are not dragged here by their parents because the parents have to go to work and the kids have to have a place to be. Some of these kids are standing outside early in the morning waiting to get in here because they have all the things that not all, but most of the things that they need to have a wonderful day. They've made new friends. I have been here many days where it's just heartwarming to see how these wonderful kids, and you've seen some of them come up here and talk and tell you about their experiences. There's a future going on. You need to think about next year and the year after. These are the kids who are going to be our administrators down the road a ways. They need to be able to grow and develop. And yes, the little boy who said they're not going to have any graffiti, there's no way that they're going to be skating here and outside painting the walls. There is no way. You will have some kids from outside who should be inside and probably want to be inside, and we can entice them to be inside by having the growth that we should be having and will be having in this teen center. So this is an ideal location. Eventually we'll take care of the flooding. Eventually we'll have the sidewalks. Eventually we'll have 2 basketball courts, whatever we need eventually. But this is a starting point. And we have this wonderful teen center here. Why not have the skateboards here also? Thank you.
My name is Vanessa Guzman, and I live at 4903 Holiday Drive, and I am in favor for the skate park. I believe that this is a great idea to keep the kids safe. I see them in the streets, I see them at the shopping centers, and they get kicked off, and they really have nowhere to go. So for them to have a location to go would be a great idea. As many have expressed the idea of it being not as far as the other locations. I don't know about this location, but anywhere in town and country would be a great idea, and I'm all for it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Taylor. I live at 9410 West Cluster Avenue. What I would like to do is I'd like to ask all the skaters to stand up. Okay. So I think what's important about the fact that the skaters stood up is it helps identify the fact that skaters cross all socioeconomic, cultural, ethnic, and age group categories. Sit down, thanks. And I think skaters and boarders, they have an opportunity to intermingle in a way that very few other sports have an opportunity to intermingle. If you're a basketball player and you're 9 years old, you may not be able to play as well as somebody who's 16 or 18. But if you're a boarder who's 9 years old, you might be able to outskate somebody who's 17. And so I think the fact that they're looking at creating something that's going to allow all the kids to get off the street. Because the truth of the matter is if we don't give the kids something to do, they will find something to do. And the things that kids find to do that they're kind of not pushed towards, might not be what you want them to do. So you will have graffiti if you don't give them an outlet. The funding in the schools is being cut back. Band is being cut back. Athletic programs are being cut back. Parks and recreations are being cut back. These are the times financially where people are struggling. Skateboarding and boarding doesn't really cost a lot of money. They just need a venue. So I'm for the skate parks because I have 3 boys, and it helps me keep them very busy and active. So thank you.
Others?
My name is Rob Gamester. I live right up here on Webb Road. I think this is a great idea. And I think that y'all need to understand when it comes to what are we doing for teens. In the last 10 years or so, this has been built. The teen room at the Town and Country Library has been built. We have a request from the community to have a swimming pool. That's why we have the YMCA, which also has an indoor basketball court. Webb Middle School has added a basketball court. These are all the things that the community, geezers like me, are wanting to do for our teens. So we are looking out for our teens. 10 years ago, we weren't looking out for y'all. Y'all weren't teens then. But we just come along, and just like the lady said, we will do some other things. I remember one time, and the crab back here, he was in the Civic Association when they had no sidewalk, and they were the ones that got the sidewalk to Jackson Springs Park. Remember that? Okay. And the crab donated $10,000 when he was president of the Civic Association to Jackson Springs Park. But if this concept of a teen center, what else? What are you going to attract here? You're going to attract teens, and I just think it's an awesome idea. And do keep those tennis courts, because as I said, I live on Webb Road, and I drive up here all the time. And man, that place is busy. And you say, why are they out there? They could be in here. Well, they're in here too. Thank you.
My name is Kyle Kelty. I live at 6930 DeMarco Road, and I've been in Town and Country for about 10 years, and I was born and raised in Tampa. And I came here to observe with the Boy Scouts. I didn't plan on saying anything, but what impressed me is it's not just parents sitting here. Look at all the skaters. Look at all the skaters. They're not out getting in trouble. They're not out running wild because their parents are worried about where they are or not paying attention to where they are. They're right here because they're worried about our community. They're worried about where they're going to go to skate that is safe. And that's just really impressive to me. And as long as it's in Town and Country, give them a skate park.
Okay. Before I forget, my memory doesn't last too long. I want to try to address some of the comments. And if someone else gets a thought and wants to speak, please raise your hand. But Mr. Lewis, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. And Mr. Crab. That's good to see you. We've had a lot of public meetings on a lot of different issues in Town and Country, and it's always great to come to the Town and Country community and be bringing something like this. One of the things that there was, I know you mentioned Peroni, and there was an issue about the basketball court and why the Boys and Girls Club left this building. When this building was built, I think it was finished about 6.5, 7 years ago, right about the time I started with the county. There was an agreement that the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, and the county all came together because we gave them property to build the Town and Country Y on county property. They said, well, we're going to put some money into a facility. What do you need? The Boys and Girls Club came to the table. This facility was built. It is kind of tucked away here, but when we went through the process of creating our regional recreation centers, we had a big debate at the staff level and then certainly at the public discussion level about, do we have our Town and Country Center over on Handley? Is that our regional center site, or is this one? We made that one. That one was where we always had our big public meetings anytime we met in the Town and Country area. But we soon realized that we really have potentially two. We have that one because it's very open and a hub, but it's on kind of surrounded by the school. And then this one had a special thing going that we weren't really sure where we were heading. Tina brought it to us about making a teen center, and now it's going to be the model for a lot of facilities throughout the county, hopefully 3 or 4 others. we have staff here. One of the issues that we have to build it where we can staff it. We are staffing this facility, so we had to look at that. We looked at the drainage, and I know that the last time that we were at a public meeting, it's been several years ago, about Peroni, the big open area is actually a very shallow depression, or retention area for that neighborhood. So there's some limitations to building anything impervious other than what's there, because it's that whole big open area at Peroni will hold the water from the neighborhoods. It's my understanding. They're probably now we're not talking about a lot of area when we're talking about a skate park. For those of you who sometimes maybe can't understand when we say 10,000 square foot skate park or 11,000, typical tennis court is about 7,200. So this is a tennis court and a half. It's not that large of an area, but because of the design features and it's not square, it looks larger. Apollo Beach is almost the same size as Brandon, but Brandon looks larger because it's very multi-level. The reason that we only put one basketball court there, and you can see we've got room to do maybe another staggered here, and we certainly can do that. We have to be concerned with our drainage engineering, which we will do correctly. But keep in mind, we've not run this facility, and I don't think that it was open on Saturday night if the Boys and Girls Club didn't open it, was it?
There was basketball
In here? Okay. So if they were in here Saturday nights and all day Saturday or Sunday afternoon, then they were outside as well, then we may need two courts outside. We're going to look at that, and while we're in the construction, because we will have to build one, it's almost as easy to build two at the same time and not much more money. So we're going to look at that, and I appreciate your comments on that. We don't want to take anything away from the outdoor activities of the park. There's still a playground for the under 12. It's going to be a wonderful site. I think we are concerned, and let me tell you, let me stand out from this mic. When we did our first two, we looked at one side at Town and Country Greenway at the trailhead. There's a large open area. That was ideal because of transportation, but it was next to a 55 and older community, and they expressed major concerns. We want to be a good neighbor. That's why we're going to be very concerned with the design. I don't know if anyone is here that lives over on the neighborhood there. We're going to make sure that, yeah, noise and
the noise, the berm. I want to know if the water's going to come back across the road and onto us.
yeah. We'll make sure that our engineer is design engineer right here, and we didn't put it in the first location. We went to the second. It was next to the fire station on Ehrlich Road, pretty far from here.
That would have been a nicer place.
Right across the street from the middle school. The middle school actually opposed it being there, but it was right next to the fire station. The other two that we have are next to fire stations, which, you know, we got paramedics right next door, and skate parks are notorious for injuries, and they do have them. I'm sorry? It's a little bit further north. It's not a bad location. You know, it's just, you know, we had a lot of areas that we looked at Countryway and, you know, different places, and really everyone had a plus, everyone had a minus, and we don't want to continue to have 4 or 5 more meetings. This site popped up because of more of the programming that Tina's got going and what we can build here. This facility may be in the right location or it may not have been. Unfortunately, it's here, and there's not anything we can do about this. So if we focus on making this better, there is one sidewalk along the west side of Jackson Springs Road. There may eventually be another one, but there is one. We made sure of that. And there's a bus stop right at the corner of right up here on the main corner. Not much further from the bus stop that kids, and I've seen them get on and off the bus, at the Brandon on Bloomingdale and Providence, it's a little bit closer to the corner, but maybe by 100, 200 yards. The skaters have told us skating that far from the corner to here isn't that big a deal. A lot of the parents bring their kids because parents are concerned with what's going on, so they're dropping them off, they're picking them up. Sam? I want to introduce Sam Haslett. She's the manager at Brandon. The kids under 16 that don't drive, how are they getting to your park?
Mainly the parents bring them and,
Hang on, I'm sorry. Got to use a microphone, I forget.
mainly the parents bring them. We do have some kids that live in the local neighborhood communities. They do skateboard and they do have sidewalks, but we also have bus paths. I don't know if you guys have them over in this area. I'm not really familiar with Town and Country, but we've got over 1,350 waivers so far in 4 months, less than 4 months. So there's a need in our community. So if you guys have got 25 skaters sitting here, there's going to be a need in yours. So in regards to the bus, some use them, most of the parents drop them off, and then we have some that skate in. So.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I need you to put it on the record.
I mean, how long have you been running this one in Brandon?
There's that behind you. Yeah.
July 21st will be 4 months.
And you're fine with everything? The kids are...
Actually, I have about 50 skaters a day, anywhere between 35 to 50 skaters a day. The weekends are obviously busier. We have anywhere from, throughout the day, we're open 10 hours a day from 10 to 10. So we have anywhere, you know, the whole number's about 120 maybe come in and out the door every day.
So, Mr. Thornton, you're familiar with all of these people running these things, and I'm sure that these
Yes.
people are all familiar with it, aren't you?
These guys are no different. Who's been
Right.
to Brandon Skate Park? Has
Right.
anybody made it down that way? Did you?
All right.
I thought you looked familiar. I couldn't tell, but guy, everything honestly, it was
Okay.
it was a little scary at first because it was in the unknown,
It's-
and
right,
the unknown for
right.
Parks and Rec. But it's been nothing but a pleasure. The kids have been top notch. They've been respectful. You know, they've been
And all the safety features are all involved. Everything is...
They have to wear a helmet. If you're 12 and under, you have to wear full pads.
And they know the rules,
They
I'm
know the
sure,
rules,
yeah.
and we know that skaters don't really go. They're not really down with helmets, but if they want to skate on a nice brand new concrete course, they'll wear their helmet.
Yeah.
And like I said, we had 1,350 waivers so far, and we've had maybe 5 guys complain about helmets. They wear them and they skate all day. I have kids that stay 12 hours a day.
Mr. Thornton, is this
Yes.
your most favored spot, this area right here?
Well, as I mentioned, we've looked at just about every site, and because of our programming here, this is why we're here tonight to recommend this site because of what's going on with this park and the teens.
Okay, don't get me wrong, I'm not against it,
Sure.
I'm not for it, I don't know what it is, but I suspect these kids also want a hangout place, right? But anyway, thank you for
Yes,
coming, and
thank
thank you,
you.
Tina. You are good, thank you.
Can
Thank
I say
you.
something?
Yeah,
also?
go ahead.
I know you guys have some concerns about graffiti. Like I said, we've been open 4 months, and I know there's possible graffiti challenges here in Town and Country, and I've seen a couple of little tags on our bus stops, but not once. We've asked them to not put stickers on the course. They've not done it. We've asked them not to use wax on the course. They've not done it. There's not been any graffiti at all whatsoever. I mean, no, it's just been nothing but great over there, and I can't say enough about the kindness of the skaters. And one thing, like a parent was speaking about sportsmanship, the guys don't diss each other, they help each other, they mentor each other, they teach each other how to do the tricks, they're never down on each other. I mean, they might cut up and say you suck or something, but they're just joking. And all in all, they'd rather see the guy succeed at the trick than to diss him or down him or anything. So they've been nothing but A+. So
Thank you, Sam.
yes, sir.
We've been open just now for 4 months, so it is a new facility for us. One of the things that Sam was talking about was the courtesy that the skaters show each other, and someone mentioned, and I forgot who now, but You've got an 18-year-old, I think, ma'am, you did, that, you know, a 17, 18-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they're out there skating. The 4-year-old may be better, but there's an etiquette that is practiced on the skate park. And I was out there on Saturday and watching it, walking around, and, you know, I was probably in the way. They were being very courteous not to run over me. But it's fun to watch the kids. Whether we put it here, we're going to get the comments for 2 weeks. Then we'll make decisions recommending what we do, and hope we will move forward. If this is the site, it'll be here. If it's not the site, we'll move forward and have another public meeting, because someone said, I don't recall who, but we are persistent. We have the money for the area up here. We want a skate park here. We know it's needed. You guys, you know it's needed, and we're going to find a spot for it. We just have to balance it with our staffing abilities and our facilities and drainage. We always want to be a good neighbor and make sure that you're involved in the design as much as the kids. And I can tell you that you're not going to be unhappy before we open. We're going to make sure that you know what's going on from day one. For those of you who live across the street, we had the issue in Apollo Beach, houses right across the street. They were very much involved with the siding of that facility as well. So, yes, sir.
How long would it be before we know if we're going to get it or we're not going to get it?
Well,
So
we'll take the public comments for the next 2 weeks. We'll evaluate them probably the next 2 or so, and then we'll make, I guess the next step is that we'll maybe have another meeting probably within 30 to 45 days and come back and say, you know, if this is the site, we'll probably do a press release or something that say that, you know, based on all public comments, we're going to move forward with this project, or we're going to look at another site or something. We want to make sure we communicate that to the residents out here. And at this site, if this is the site, they'll know. And
so you'll pick the site?
Well, it'll be based on all of your comments that we get over the next 2 weeks. Email, phone calls, written letters, whatever.
So this would be a nice Christmas present for Town and Country.
Oh, absolutely.
And then also, everybody knows that we have the new Town and Country Library. It's been open for quite a while. Mm-hmm. Well, it didn't have any sidewalks when it opened. Well, guess what? It does now. So if we have a park here, eventually we'll get sidewalks, we'll get lights, but it just takes time. Let's get the park in here first, and then worry about the sidewalks.
I have a question. Do you have like an estimate for, like, if we were to have it built here at Jackson Springs, would you have an estimated time for like how long it would be built, how long it would take to like build?
I'm trying to think now. We were doing this process this time last year with Brandon and opened in March, April. So if we hustle, we'll be able to have it open for when school's out, maybe in the spring of or June of 2013. So 11 months. It does take time. We've got quite a bit of work to do after we make the decision. So we're about 30 to 45 days from then. Once we start, construction was about 6 months, roughly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Lewis.
I have a question for the director at the skate park in Brandon about the noise level. And the reason why I ask about that, because I live on a corner at a bus stop, and the kids come with the boards, and I got a 4-inch rise right by a tree, where the tree uprooted, and I sat about from here to that microphone from where the kids board, and I don't hear a lot of noise. All I hear is maybe a little clop, 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 clop. What's the noise like out there? Because everyone seems to be afraid of the noise, talking about building berms and sound barriers and all that kind of stuff. I'm not seeing a whole lot of noise coming from boarding.
Well, on the concrete courses, obviously I've probably gotten used to it. It was a little weird at first because it did seem loud. Sometimes they'll make loud cracks. I mean, that's basically on the concrete. It sounds different on the street, on asphalt and like sidewalks. It's different than the material they use for these concrete courses. The concrete is a lot, I guess, maybe not harder, but it's rougher. And they use different wheels on concrete that you guys ride on the streets. That's different than what you would use. You use a smoother, somewhat softer wheel on the concrete. So it all depends. I mean, it was loud at first, but I'm used to it. And sometimes when they're underneath the patio, it's kind of loud because they'll do like kick flips right underneath you, or, you know, underneath the patio, and you're sitting there and you're like, ah. But for me, out, like if you're in the parking lot, you can't hear it. I don't hear anything. If I'm pulling up, I don't hear them out there in the course. Yeah, it's not too loud. It's inside the course you could hear them, and like during the event on Saturday, it was loud. I mean, you had boards everywhere and kids flying everywhere, and so on the course it's loud, but it doesn't travel. It's not like the sound travels out away. And if they're putting berms up, you're not going to hear anything. So
one of the things, the design of the Brandon Skate Park has got a lot of bowls, and so it actually retains a lot of the noise within the skate park because of the design. I think the Apollo Beach design that's flat and it's like a plaza and there's wide open sides, I think that we may have more spillover of noise on that kind of facility than we do at Brandon, but we haven't opened it yet. But we've got a little berming there. I think that in this situation, you know, the best sound detection will be the berm. And it really depends on how we design it, and we'll work with the designers to make sure that, you know, if we do a bowl and it's at that end, you won't hear it because all the noise is down inside the bowl and it doesn't come out. When you're standing there watching it, you hear it, and I had some video. If I'd have thought about it, I could have brought it, and you could have seen the skaters and you would have heard it, and it's the skating noise. But I was concerned about the noise on Saturday. Once I got into the skate park, because there's houses across Providence, but I didn't hear it from the parking lot. So after I left, I'm thinking, well, it wasn't that bad, because once I left the facility, there was a building in between, and so it wasn't an issue. But we're always concerned about being a good neighbor, I can tell you. Sir, you had a question.
Why was the Citrus Park skate park shot down?
Which one? By the fire station? It's my understanding that, well, there was a commercial business shopping center, wasn't a retail shopping center, an office complex right next door. They expressed concern. The middle school principal expressed concern about kids skipping school during the skate. I don't know if you were there or not, but she did. And, oh, you weren't there? Oh, you heard about it? Well, she did. And although I thought, what a better place to have them skip school, because she could look out her window and see all the kids in the skate park. But I think most of the reason it was there is that the commercial property owners there were concerned about that facility being so close, and it was right on the property line for that facility. So, you know, we don't want to start off in a negative situation. We want everybody to be positive on this and it to be fun and exciting for the community. So, you know, that's why we want to be a good neighbor. When we were at the meeting and had overwhelming opposition at the Town and Country, the Waters and Sheldon side at the trailhead, you know, we basically just said, you know, look, we understand you don't want it there. We're not going to put it there, and we closed the meeting. We didn't do it because they gave us a round of applause. We got it because at the time the public comments there were that these kids are criminals, these kids are going to break into my house, and we don't want them that close. We did not want to subject the kids that are skating at the park to that kind of criticism. So we said we'd go somewhere else, and everybody was fine with it. Yes, ma'am. Oh, we got to do it on the mic. You got it?
Very quickly, that just leads us right back to the point where we already have a teen center. We already know the wonderful kids that come to this teen center. They will be a large portion of the kids who also come. and their friends will be just as wonderful as they are, and they're teens, and we have to recognize when you talk about, I know I was from Fountain View, and I know the seniors there were very apprehensive about, oh my God, all these kids are going to be here. They forgot about their kids growing up. But in the meantime, we already have these wonderful kids here. We have all these facilities and everything else. And just adding the skateboard is just going to enhance the whole program for all of the kids. So I don't see any question at all.
Okay. If there's not any other comments, we'll close our meeting. I want to once again thank all of you for coming out. And I've got some staff here. Staff, raise your hand. I'm not going to introduce everybody. I might miss them. All right. They're doing a good job out here. So if you know somebody that wants to comment, they can go on the county's website and give us email, written comment. I believe it's probably easy to find. And this may be all recorded, and you can look at it again if you want to see yourself on camera. So thanks again, and we'll hope to see you soon.